Hello friends, I am Atul Verma. Welcome to my channel. I hope the videos were useful for you and you are able to refresh your knowledge. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe to my channel and please hit the bell icon so that you will be able to get the intimation of new videos as and when they are posted. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Next is 2.04, which is nomination. So a standby can nominate any other entity to advise the undertaking or to add confirmation to it or to act in a certain manner. Now, whenever you are requesting, the issuer can only send this particular statement or send this particular requirement as a request to the other entity, whether to add confirmation, whether to advise it, or whether to act as a negotiating bank is at the sole discretion of the entity who is being requested to act in that capacity. So if we look at this particular case, if the issuer requests Bank Y to act as an advising bank, still it is at the discretion of this bank whether to act as an advising bank or not. So the issuer can only request the other party to act in that capacity. Whether to act or not is at the willingness of the entity to whom that request is made. Next is advising of the standby. Now advising bank has only two responsibilities. First, to check the authenticity of the undertaking. Next, to check whether everything is intact. Now this authenticity will be checked by, suppose your undertaking is being sent to MT700. This means this is an authentic undertaking originating from the issuer, because the issuer can be identified and it is an authenticated means of communication, swift communication. So you know that the undertaking is authentic. Next is whatever details are there in the undertaking, those are intact. So whatever is received by the advising bank, as it is in intact form, it will be passed on to the beneficiary as an advised undertaking. Now another aspect to this is, if the undertaking is sent to Bank Y and Bank Y is not in a position to advise this undertaking to the beneficiary, then Bank Y has to immediately go back to the issuer, mentioning that or highlighting its incapability of advising the undertaking, so that the issuer can route the undertaking to a different bank. Next is 2.06 Part A. Part A deals with automatic amendments. So what it means, suppose the undertaking is issued on 10th of January for $100,000 and the expiry date was 31st of December 2021. Your undertaking mentions an automatic amendment clause. Now this clause is with respect to the amount. It says SBLC will be reduced by 10% of the original amount on 1st of every month. So this means on 1st of Feb, the available amount under the undertaking will be 90,000. On 1st of March, it will be 80,000, because it will be reduced by 10% of the original amount. Original amount was 100,000. So every month, on every first, it will be reduced by $10,000. So in this case, the reduction will happen without requirement of any consent from the beneficiary, because when the beneficiary accepted the original undertaking, this auto extension, this automatic reduction clause was also accepted by the beneficiary. So no intimation is required to be given to the beneficiary. Now next is 2.06B, which deals with the case when your undertaking is not having an automatic amendment clause. So in that case, suppose your undertaking was issued with these values: issuance date 10th January, amount $100,000, expiry date 31st of December. You amended the undertaking. Now the amount is $90,000 and the expiry date is 31st of March. So the moment this amendment leaves the control of the issuer, the issuer is binded by this amendment. Now who is binded by this amendment? The issuer. If this amendment was sent to the confirmer, then the confirmer is binded by this amendment once the confirmer confirms this amendment. Confirmer is also binded by the amendment once it confirms the amendment, but the final beneficiary will not be binded by this amendment unless beneficiary presents documents which are in line with the amendment, or beneficiary gives explicit instructions of accepting this amendment. So these entities will be binded by the amendment the moment they have issued or confirmed the amendment, but the beneficiary will not be binded by such kind of amendment if that is not a part of an automatic amendment. Beneficiary can give its acceptance or rejection of the amendment, or beneficiary can directly make presentation, thereby indicating whether the amendment is accepted or rejected. Next point is, an amendment will not be needing any authorization from the applicant to be a binding act or to be a binding responsibility for issuer or confirmer. The moment an issuer or confirmer has issued the amendment, it is binding on them, whether applicant has authorized that amendment or not. So for example, if this amendment, applicant mentioned that you reduce the undertaking value to 10,000, but the issuer read it incorrectly and they reduced the value by 10,000. What applicant meant was you reduce the value of the undertaking to 10,000, which means that this should be the final amount, whereas the issuer misread it and reduced it by 10,000, making the value as 90,000. Now when the applicant gave this particular instruction, it was obviously post discussion with the beneficiary. These two would have agreed and then applicant would have given this instruction. But the undertaking which eventually reached the beneficiary was for 90,000. In this case, beneficiary has a right to claim for 90,000, but the bank will not get reimbursement from the applicant because applicant did not authorize for this, applicant authorized for this. So an amendment, once it is issued, applicant is out of context if the amendment was not issued in line with what request was given. Also, partial acceptance of the amendment is not allowed. So beneficiary has to either accept the entire amendment or reject the entire amendment. Okay, next is 2.07 regarding routing of amendments. So first point, what it says is, whenever an amendment is issued in an undertaking and that amendment was advised through an advising bank, the same bank should be used to advise subsequent amendments. The same logic is there in UCP. Now what another point this particular article mentions is, suppose you have requested for cancellation or amendment of an undertaking, and by the time your instructions reached the nominated party or any party whom you have designated to act in a certain manner, if that party acts according to the rules and regulations of the undertaking before receipt of your instructions, then you as an issuer are bound to cover that party. So for example, suppose applicant gave issuer the instructions to cancel the undertaking on 25th October at 4 p.m. and there is a difference of 12 hours between the bank and the nominated bank. the issuer and the nominated bank. So nominated bank is 12 hours ahead of the issuing bank. Okay. Now the amount of the undertaking was $10,000 and the entire amount was unutilized. Applicant gave the request to the issuer to cancel the undertaking. Issuer forwarded this request to the nominated bank. Now this request was given by the applicant on 25th October at 4 p.m. Issuer sent this request on 26th October immediately as the issuer opened. Now when it is 9 a.m. on 26th October at issuer's end, it is 9 p.m. at the nominated bank's end, because there is a 12 hours difference. Nominated bank, parallelly, what happened is beneficiary presented complying documents on 25th October in morning hours, and on 26th October at 2 p.m. payment was made for $10,000 because beneficiary claimed for $10,000. Now in this case, by the time this cancellation message reached the nominated bank, payment was already made to the beneficiary. So now issuer is responsible to cover the nominated bank, because nominated bank acted before this message of cancellation reached them. Okay. So friends, today's training session is completed. Hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, then please hit the like button. Have a great day. Thank you.